Good morning, guys. Today we're gonna finish 6.5. Now, what's left of 6.5 is incredibly easy, called the change of base formula. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna explain change of base, which only takes about 5 minutes. I'm gonna spend about 10 minutes doing particular exercises about yesterday's homework, so you can see how I worked it. Okay. So again, that's pretty much what I'm gonna do right now. So first of all, change of base. It's on page 329, and it states that this is the base. If for any reason you do not want to work with that particular number, say for example log 317, but if I don't want to work with log 3, I want to change that base. It's very simple. You can pick any number that isn't 3 or 1. Again, the only one limit is the base that you change to cannot be 1, and the value of C at the end cannot be 1 either. So B cannot be 1 or C cannot be 1. Besides that, you can change it to any number. Pick a number. 7. I want it to be 7. That's fine. All you do is you put log base 7, and then the number, the big number, goes up top, and the actual old base goes at the bottom, and I changed it to a new base 7. It's a division. Many students might ask, Prof, why the heck would I want to do that? Well, you'll see later on, maybe very specific circumstances might want you to work with logs of particular bases. Or it could be as easy as showing up in an SAT or a map test says change the base. This is pretty much it. Now, you can change it to any base number that is not 1, can't be 1. You can also use common logs. For example, we all know common logs have a base of 10. So now let's say, for example, I have this. I can just rewrite it as common log of 25 divided by common log of 2. This is also useful for students who have the older calculators that you can actually plug in a base here. If you have just common log, you can solve any log using this system. Okay, if you can't plug in a particular base and they give you log 2 of 14 and you don't have the log base button, but you do have the common log button, again, common log 14 divided by common log 2. I just changed the base to the common log. You can also use the natural base. You end up with a natural log. You can just do ln, natural log 25, over ln 2. So whenever I say change the base, if I don't give you a particular restriction, like change the base to the common log or change the base to the natural log, you can change the base to any number that is not 1. And again, don't complicate things. You can just use 2. You can don't use decimals. Don't use weird numbers. Just go for any basic easy number. Okay, and that's pretty much it for change of base. All you have to do is from this log change this base to any other number. The big number goes at the top. The old base goes at the bottom. Always. That's the only scenario. And the new base gets placed in both the numerator and the denominator. That's it for change of base. Pretty straightforward. Now let me assign the homework, and then I'm going to do some exercises that were assigned yesterday. Now for homework, all you have to do is and when they say, for example, and evaluate the log, that means just divide the values at the end. Again, in some cases, it can make your life easier if you're smart. For example, let's give you this example. If I have log base 4 of 7, I'm going to give you this one, which is 33. If they tell me change the base, If I change it to this, para que ustedes entiendan, if I change it to this, log base 6 of 7 over log base 6 of 4, I'm only complicating myself a bit. What I can do, however, is log base, just calculate it using a calculator. You'll see later how it fits in. I'm not going to get into that now. I'm going to go ahead and do from 33 to 38. Change the base and evaluate. I want you to change the base. Now for these exercises, make sure you use a different number for each base change. Don't use 2 always. And I will be checking the homework. If people use, if a whole bunch of people use the same exact numbers in the same exact order, that's going to be quite an interesting coincidence I'm going to have to investigate. So just use random numbers. They don't have to be big. Don't use 27, but you can use 9, 7, 3, 4, weird orders, random numbers. Okay. Now let's go over, I'm going to do a couple of, the first group of exercises assigned yesterday, the second group, and the third group. For the first group, they're telling me that log base 7 of 4 equals, they give me a whole decimal, but since I'm not using a calculator, I'm going to limit it to 0.7. However, in the test, you have to use the exact value that you're given. And they also tell me that log base 7 of 12 equals 1.2. Now, for example, in the first exercise, I have to reach log base 7 of 3. Using these numbers, how do I end up with a 3? Very simple. 12 divided by 4 is 3. So this is the exact same thing as 3. Now remember, when you have a division, it's pretty much the exact same base of the numerator minus the exact same base and the denominator. I know that log base 7 of 12 is 1.2, so this substitute for 1.2, since it's a division, minus log base 7, 4, which is 0.7. So the answer to this, again, without a calculator, is 0.5. This minus this. That's the exact same thing as log base 7 of 3. I hope that's clear. Now let's do the following. Log base 7 of 48. I know that I can reach 48 by multiplying 4 times 12. Since this is a multiplication, according to the rules of the logs, you add. I substitute 0. Again, the order doesn't really matter here. I add it and I end up with 1.9. Again, that's log base 7 of 48, 1.9. Again, remember, I'm not plugging in the actual full value, so it's going to be slightly different, but that's going to be the answer. Now, let's go over log base 7 of 16. Here, you have to start using squares or square roots, etc., etc. Okay. Now, in order to reach 16, it's the exact same thing as 4 squared. When you look at the power property, this 2 comes up front here and multiplies your log. This value is 0.7. After I multiply, I end up with 1.4. Let's do a couple of others. Log base 7 of 64. Again, how do I reach 64? There's no way to multiply these two. But again, you got to think of squares and cubes. So 4 cubed. 4 times 4 is 16. Times 4 is 64. Now this becomes a power rule. The 3 comes up in front and multiplies your log base 4. 3 times 0.7 is 2.1. You can see that once you practice a lot, these become very, very simple. Now we're going to end up where it starts getting a little bit complicated, and it's not that bad. Remember, now you have to review the rules of the powers and the exponents. Here, this number is 4, but this number is 1/4. That means that this 4 was sent to the denominator. How do you send a 4 to the denominator? You raise it to the -1 power, sends it to the denominator. So 4 elevated to the -1 is the exact same thing as 1/4. Now I am going to apply the power rule, and -1 multiplies this value. This value is 0.7, so that answer was -0.7. That's simple. Let's do the last one. Log base 7 of 1/3. Again, there's no way to directly end with 1/3, but in a previous example, we ended up with 3. So if I use that number and elevate that number to the -1, then that means that you can, well, there's two ways to do this, actually. You can elevate this number to the -1, which is the exact same thing as just dividing these in the opposite fashion, or actually just dividing 4 by 12. It's the exact same thing. When you divide 4 by 12, when you simplify, you end up with 1/3. However, we do not put log base 7(1) minus log base 7(3) because I do not have a 1 or a 3. Instead, here, you just do not simplify. Again, I simplified so you can see that this expression is the exact same thing as this expression. But you cannot simplify down here because I am not given log base 7 of 1 or log base 7 of 3. I rewrite this expression as log base 7(4) minus log base 7(12). Substitute the value, 0.7 minus 1.2. That gives me -0.5. That's it for the entire block of that example. Now let's continue with the second block, which was expanding. I'm going to do 2 of these. For example, I'm told to expand log base 7(5) square root of x. Expand. First thing I'm going to do is, again, I want to get rid of, or I want to organize it so I can work with my numbers and values and terms easier. This square root, if you remember the rules of the powers and radicals, is the exact same thing as 1/2. That makes it easier to work with, and you'll see why. Now this is a multiplication. So I'm going to do an addition. Log base 7(5) plus log base 7 of x to the 1/2. This is a power now. Comes up from multiplying and you're done. That logarithm has been expanded. Now let's do the last one. Yeah, let's do the last one. I want to do this one. And I'm going to do a couple of others as well. But let's do the last one because it's important. This one has a parentheses, and I do want you guys to understand how this works. So again, step 1, I'm going to turn this into an exponent, but since the squared root covered these 2 terms, I'm going to put a parentheses, and it's a cube root, like that. Okay, now I cannot break these 2 terms apart without getting rid of this exponent first. So the next step is this exponent comes up here multiplying. Now I can get rid of my parentheses because I no longer have an exponent. Now this is a product, so you add. But now when you add, you're also going to include this 1/3 here at the front. But I'm not done yet. That takes care of my y. This no longer can be expanded. But this x now has a power. What do? Comes to the front multiplying. And 2 times 1/3, 2/3. Now you're done. Okay. One thing to keep in mind is, if you have multiple variables and a number, for example, one mistake many students do is they just break up the number and they break up the letters. But this has to be broken up as well. These are all multiplications. So this would actually become common log 3 plus log x plus 2, because there's a power, log y plus log z. That's it for expanding. Now I'm going to do a couple of condensation exercises. Okay, let's do number 23. Log base 4 7 minus log base 4 10. Again, the whole point is to condense them all into hopefully a single log. Logs of the same base is a subtraction, is the same thing as a division. Log base 4 of 7 over 10. Let's see what other exercise I can do. That's pretty much it for that condensation. Let me try more difficult ones. Let's try the last one. Log base 3 of 4 plus 2 log 1/2 plus, oh, these are all base 3, by the way, sorry, plus log base 3x. Now when I'm going to work backwards, you have to get rid of what's multiplying these first to turn them into exponents. You cannot leave that to the end, because you can only combine logs when they're exactly the same without taking into consideration the number that's at the end. So this 2 would interfere. I would not be able to add these 2 logs if I don't get rid of this 2 first. So this 2 becomes a power, and this number becomes 1/4, because 1/2 squared is 1/4. Now all these logs are the same. All I have to do is multiply everything. Let's do these 2 first. Log base 3 of 4 times 1/4. These 2 cancel out, and you're left with log base 3 of 1 right now. Remember, it's not log base 3 blank. There's a 1 there. And if I multiply that by log base 3 of x, this is when I add it, this is an addition, so now I multiply. And here, remember, I do not have to leave my 1, because I know there is a 1 there that's multiplying. It's just invisible. That's pretty much it for those exercises. If you have questions, let me know. Now, one thing. Tomorrow, which is Wednesday, we're going to finish chapter 6. Tomorrow's subject is complex, but that's going to give you Thursday to practice and review, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The exam for this chapter is going to be on Monday. Monday, we're going to have the exam. I will upload a practice exam on Thursday, maybe Friday. And if you want to set up calls, schedule them, because the 11th graders also have an exam on Monday. And on Sundays, the schedule is tight, but you can schedule anytime, any day throughout the weekend. Again, I don't want any excuses. Prof, I wasn't unable to call. No, I'm open pretty much all the time from 10 a.m. to 11 p.m. Any day of the week. Let me know if you have questions. I want everybody to do well. But I'm not just going to give you the grade. You have to earn it. But let me know. Call me if you have any questions. Tomorrow's class is somewhat complex. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to teach tomorrow's class tomorrow. Then Thursday, maybe just do a whole bunch of exercises on the board, just like I did now. And then maybe Friday, upload the practice test to give you guys time to review before you actually jump into the practice test. So if you have any questions, let me know. Today's class is pretty simple and straightforward. If I were you, I'd begin reviewing chapter 6. That's pretty much it. Now, for the remainder of the quarter, we might have 1 or 2 more exams, and then the remainder of the quarter will be a project. The project will be either 1 or 2 people per project, no more than that. The good thing is it's going to be a somewhat open project to let you choose a particular subject and apply it to your area of interest. So it's going to be a very productive project, I believe. I'm gonna give you more details tomorrow or the day after, so you can start thinking. And again, it's gonna be either 1 or 2 people. Profe, can we do 3? No! Right now, I'm telling you, you cannot do 3 people. You're either gonna, because when there's 3 people, either 1 person does all the work or 2 people do all the work, and the third just coasts along. Now, when it's 2 people working, the one who does all the work does get slightly pissed. So that's what I want. I want either 1 person to work on the project by himself or 2 people, no more than that. Again, the good thing is you will be able to probably choose any subject given throughout this year and apply it to your area of interest. That's why it also has to be, a small group. So people with like interest get together and work on that specific idea or concept. It's going to be a fun project to end the class, and I hope everybody scores a 100. I want to see very, very nice videos, and they will be uploaded to Teams so everybody can enjoy them. Okay? That's going to be a great project to close the year. So without any further ado, just, if you have questions, let me know. Otherwise, start preparing for Chapter 6 test. Might be more difficult than the previous test. But again, I don't want people freaking out. The tests are worth very little. They are worth something, but they're worth very little. Homework every day. And I'm telling this to everybody. If you have not done all the homeworks, I am giving you guys the chance to go back, look at every day that you're missing, and upload the homework past the due date for a very small penalty. Profe, can you please look up and tell me if I'm missing it? No, you have to look yourself at the days that you're missing. I'm going to start grading all the weeks of homework probably today or tomorrow and uploading those Rediker grades. Once that grade goes up, you will not have a chance to upload late homeworks. So begin from the first days of class and move on. Once I upload the grade in Rediker, and it's probably going to start tomorrow or the day after, I don't think I'm going to begin today, you will not have a chance after that to upload your late homeworks. So start working on that now. Upload all the late homeworks that you have, because I repeat, that's the chance I am giving you today and tomorrow and before I upload the grades. After the grade is uploaded, you will not get a chance to upload late homeworks. Get that job done. Make sure they are all uploaded, because most of the grade this quarter will come from homeworks. Have a great day. See you all soon.